watching and listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition. I'm your host, Stevie, in Mexico. More on that in a second, alongside Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful, wonderful. I'm jealous of you. You're in Mexico.
I am. I want to just quick apologies for listeners of our Tuesday Tags podcast that we dropped. I was so sick, unfortunately, with a very chest bronchial. It's that time of year, and had zero voice. And as you can hear now, barely getting it together. I did make it to Mexico, though, and I'm determined to get better for my friend's wedding this weekend. But this is episode 416. I'm in Puerto Vallarta, staying in the Versailles neighborhood, and I'll be posting some videos and some TikTok videos throughout the week. So don't forget to follow us on social media at TAGSPodcast on all social media platforms. A little later in the show, we think we are going to be joined by sexual performance coach, Brian Uncle B Ayers, to the show. He's got so much to give us with knowledge on our sexual performance. I can't wait to bring him on at about 20 into the show. But first, Kodi, you had an experience yesterday tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, it was an experience. I don't know. So yes, we went to the Harry Potter. I got British for a second. Harry Potter experience. It was in White Plains. So it was about an hour away driving, and in northern New York. And yesterday was not the best weather in New York City or the New York area. It was raining. It was 30 degrees outside, so it started to snow at a certain point. And the Harry Potter experience was underwhelming, I will say, at the very least. And on top of that, there was a fire out at the fire pit.
Oh my God. The experience was like you living out Harry Potter chapters in the book.
Oh, it was an adventure. I could probably write two Harry Potter books right now. I have all the magic to prove it and the wand, but it's in my pants. Anyway,
well, let me ask you this. Are you a big Harry Potter fan?
I love it. I know a lot of the spells. I've watched all the movies. I haven't read any of the books. Does that make me not a Harry Potter fan, really?
Well, if you're a film fan, I'll take it.
Yeah, thank you. So I've seen them all multiple times. We were actually watching them to prepare us for the Harry Potter experience, and none of the things that I saw in the film were at the experience. Like one or two things, but not. It just was underwhelming. I will say that. Yeah,
and the weather.
Yes, the Forbidden Forest had nothing on the dark forest that we had to walk through to get back to the car because, girl, they left us out in the cold, in the rain. But yes, we're gonna get our money back for sure. But yeah, it is what it is.
All right. Well, we are live. It's Wednesday night. It's Tags Live on Vocal. Like I said, a little bit later, we'll be bringing up our special guest, Brian Ayers, who's going to be talking about sexual performance. Cannot wait for that. But first, we've got hot topics to get to. And boy, I have been keeping up with the midterms, and I know you have too. Yep. But the one was in Arizona and the governor race, and the Kari Lake just lost, thank God, to the Democratic nominee, Katie Hobbs.
Yep.
But it was really a drag performer by the name of Barbara Seville who has been trolling Lake. His name is Barbara Seville. His real name is Richard Stevens. He does drag under the Seville name. He called out Lake for hypocrisy during the campaign, noting that he had frequently performed her at a party in her home.
Yeah, crazy.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
And he considered her a friend, but she had tweeted they kicked God out of schools and welcomed the drag queens. So he has been dragging her under the mud, and I think it's so well deserved too, don't you?
Oh, 100%. This is just the type of activism that I expect to see from our beautiful queens out there. I
Yeah.
consider drag to be a political act in and of itself. It bucks societal norms and really shakes up the status quo. So I really especially love that she went there and she called out that Carrie Lake's hypocrisy. It just really feels like they're ready to use us LGBTQ people for their entertainment, but they won't be there to support us when the time comes to actually support us. And that is the lowest of the low. So I'm so glad that she lost.
The good thing is, young people turned out, and the people spoke against people like Carrie Lake and a host of others, election deniers. And so it was so triumphant feeling to see goodness does prevail. So,
Yes.
yeah, good news on that. Sadly, we all know Frankie Grande, Ariana Grande's brother, but he has his
Hmm.
own career in his own right. He is recovering after being mugged in New York City last week. The incident reportedly happened on the evening of November 9th when Grande was walking through Midtown and struck in the back of the head. The
Wow.
suspect stole his Louis Vuitton bag, which contained his wallet, iPhone, and other items. He's doing okay, but in
Hmm.
other related news, it's just two men unrelated were in Hell's Kitchen, also in New York, were
Hmm.
drugged, found both of them had the similar stories where they had been at a local bar in Hell's Kitchen in where we live in New York. Somebody drugged them and robbed them, and then
Wow.
and the drug, whatever it was, killed them in the taxi cab. And it's just so, like, now we have to worry about our safe spaces, which is crazy.
Hmm. Yeah, this is really sad and messed up. I usually feel very safe walking down the streets in New York City, but
Right.
I always, what were we going to say?
I agree with you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I always have my antenna up, looking around, making sure that everything is safe on the outskirts of my periphery and things of that nature. But so like my main advice for people is to go with your gut. You really know when things are kind of dangerous around you. And in the case of the two young men that were murdered due to a date rape drug or what have you, I don't even know what was in the drug. I couldn't even say, but it's just really sad. And I think that you have to be more cognizant of what you do in the clubs and make sure that your drink is always watched, and just please be safe out there because this is just so sad. I really can't. I know people who have been roofied. I know people
Yeah.
who have actually been assaulted from things like this, and it's thank goodness they're here to tell their own story. But you just never know these days, and with the recession coming, it like people are getting more and more desperate. So please be safe out there.
Yeah. My friend, a good friend of mine, teaches self defense. And rule number one is when she's out, always carry your cocktail in your hand. Don't just
Hmm.
leave it on the bar. That's rule number one. No, no. Always in your sight. In the Frankie Grande situation, it's really crazy. The guys were only 13 and I believe 17
So wild.
and were caught a little bit later where at one of those weed joints,
Yeah, smoke
those
shop.
all these smoke shops that keep popping up in our city in New York and I'm sure in other parts. But is this like really how stupid could you be?
Yeah, they use this credit card and they should know better than to use a credit card at those places because that's the number one way. You can't use somebody's credit card after you assault them.
Right.
But they were only 13 and 17, so maybe they're not as worldly as we are to know something like that. They should know better anyway, so hopefully they learn their lesson because they're still young.
Yeah, because it's just the current climate that we're living in right now that wants
Yeah.
to not have any LGBTQ teachings at all, obviously leading to things like homophobia in a very liberal city like New York City.
Yeah.
So if you can't be safe in New York currently, we're really in trouble. Be safe out there, guys, really,
Yeah.
and watch your backs. Okay, this next story. Idaho. This really surprised me because
Hmm.
Idaho settled a lawsuit over an outdated homophobic anti-sodomy law. So the state of Idaho settled the case, which was entitled Doe versus Wasden, a lawsuit brought by the ACLU that challenged the state's crime against nature law that required several men to register as sex offenders. Get this, over having consensual oral and anal sex. So,
Wow.
I mean, under those laws, I would be in jail.
I was gonna say,
I
I
mean,
would
come
be in jail
on.
many times over, and twice just this morning. Okay.
Right. It's historically been used to condemn and punish LGBTQ people, obviously. As part of the settlement, Idaho must remove the three men from Idaho's sex offender registry. It also makes the state put in place a policy where others similarly affected by the law can also be removed. Can you imagine that it's 2022 and there's people that have this on their record as sex offenders alongside pedophilia,
Right.
pedophiles? Actually, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's really, really insane. I'm glad that they that they were able to kind of overturn this, but I feel like this is just the first step in getting all of those archaic laws that kind of marginalize our community off the books, because there are so many laws out there that want to make us seem like we're criminals, to kind of make us seem like lascivious, but we are you could be arrested for sodomy with your husband. Gay marriage is legal in all 50 states this right currently. So these laws are completely outdated and they need to be overturned. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a little early, but I think we should bring on our special guest,
Okay.
Brian Ayers. Welcome to the show. Let's just invite him up. I see him there. Let's get
Okay.
go. Can you
Can you hear
hear
me?
us, Brian?
Yes.
Welcome.
Awesome. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
welcome. Absolutely. Well, let me introduce you. Brian Uncle B Ayers is a men's sexual performance coach with over 22 years of experience. His research into men's sexual health led him to create the men's sexual performance scale, which I really want to talk about, and
Hmm.
the revolutionary ESEIS 25 sexual health program. And he has authored two books, How to Be a Better Lover in 30 Days or Less, and Go Hard. Welcome to the show, Brian. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Our
Cody's got the
pleasure.
first question.
First and foremost, can I call you Uncle B?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Uncle B, thank you for coming on the show today. So I am very curious about what is a men's performance coach, and how exactly did you become involved in becoming a men's performance coach?
Got you. Well, the first thing is men's performance coach. Basically, I help guys understand their sexual health and
Hmm.
their performance so that, as they go through different stages of life, as you get older, you understand exactly what's going on so you can take care of your body and so you can have the best sexual performance you can possibly have. And I got into this because way back in the day, my ex, she was from Liberia, is from Liberia, and we went to a family party, and there was a root in a bottle, and it was
Oh.
like, okay, what is that? He said it's an aphrodisiac. I said, okay, pour. And so the next morning, we woke up giving each other high fives in bed. It was like, hey, this works. So from there, it was just on and popping in terms of, she was into herbology. I was into, basically entrepreneurship. And we started selling a product, and it's now called Goodwood. It used to be called African Fly because the herbs were indigenous to Africa. But with that, we had a great product working, no problem, except for some guys. And it was like, well, okay, it's working for the vast majority of men. Why is it not working for these guys? And
Okay.
basically, it just came down to, okay, having conversations with them, doing surveys, doing research, and it's the basics. We were selling a supplement, and it's supposed to supplement the other things you do. And most guys don't
Oh.
know the other things you're supposed to do in terms of taking care of your health. So, it's like if someone says, okay, I want to take this product while drinking a 40. Will it work for me? Of course not. So that's the simplest way to look at it. But yeah, from there it was like, okay, what can I do to help the guys it doesn't work for? And over a period of time, as I got older, it was like, well, your body changes. So you need to understand those changes so that you can keep up literally into the future.
I think
Oh.
that's part of my favorite part. I watched a lot of your YouTube videos and they're so informative. One of the things, I'm 51 and you
You
got
do not
me.
look 51. Way
Thank
to
you
go,
very
man.
much.
Thank you. Oh, wait, you're talking to Steve.
Wow.
Cody looked up too. But one of the things that I noticed an overall theme is to be aware of your health, not to take it for granted, what you did in your 20s and 25 and what you got away with, eating the cheeseburgers, the pizza, from the diet to getting a few hours of sleep doesn't cut it anymore. And I've noticed that myself. You talk a lot about testosterone. So I had a doctor's appointment the other day. I finally asked my doctor to test my testosterone. My number was 632. I don't know if that means anything to you, but can you talk about the number of testosterone and the danger zone? Because you say if your erections aren't up, that means your health isn't good.
Yeah. Okay. A couple of things there. So as far as your testosterone levels, that's good for 51. The goal is, typically nowadays we're talking about 800. The thing to recognize is that our grandfathers had more testosterone than we do. And
Oh.
this is because of our lifestyle. You think about it, just 100 years ago, there was, very little electricity. Half of the United States did not have electricity until like, the 1950s. So when it got dark, you went to sleep. So your sleep was better. There wasn't the industrial food complex, so people ate differently. So the food was better, and stress levels were completely different. It wasn't like you have a phone and you're yelling at somebody who's not in the room. So everything was different. So their testosterone levels were higher, and over the years it's been coming down. And so the next generation we really have to be concerned about. But in terms of where you are, yeah, that's good. What happens when you go at 200? So you had 632. That's nanograms per deciliter. For those who's doing the math,
Right.
But
That was very scientific jargon, sir.
I know.
That's as far as I go.
I'm
That's
impressed.
it.
Okay, well, we'll take it.
Yeah, but yeah, if you're down, if you get tested, and you go down below 200, that's when there's a deep concern, because when you're talking about testosterone, it deals with not only your erection strength, but also there are more testosterone receptors in your heart than anywhere else in your body. It affects your muscles, your brain, your memory. Think of the crotchety old man saying, "Get off my lawn." That's what happens when your testosterone goes down to that level. So you want to be very cognizant of it. So we partner with a company called Let's Get Checked. So if any of your folks want to go to letsgetchecked.com, you can get a home testosterone kit, and you just prick your finger, give a little blood, send it off into the mail, and they'll give you a evaluation in a couple of days. I've done that several times, and it's a nice outfit. But in terms of that danger zone, so the danger zone is
like
when
that
you
song, Danger Zone.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't take care of yourself, what ends up happening? I mean, if we had a chart, we're looking at guys who are starting in their 20s, and everything is fine. You're going along, and like with everything else in your body, things start dipping. For men, typically you're losing 1% of testosterone per year. When that starts, it's sort of up to you, but how you accelerate it is definitely up to you. So you could end up like we were saying before, just eating the cheese, pizzas, the burgers, doing all the different things you're not supposed to do, staying out late, doing all, we all have done it. I've done it myself, especially with the alcohol and things like that. You start going down, and you hit a certain point where you're like, okay, are you going too far? in terms of your level of health. So if your testosterone is going down, your human growth hormone, you're not taking care of yourself, you get into a situation which we call the downward spiral. And that's where everything adds up. So you put on a little weight, it's right there in your stomach, and that it affects your testosterone in terms of turning your testosterone into estrogen through a process called aromatase. You start developing other different diseases that also slow things down. Your body is slowing down anyway. As you get older, it becomes harder to sleep. It becomes harder to produce more testosterone. It becomes harder to lose weight. It just everything becomes harder. And so you don't want to get into that situation where you start losing your erections, and you can hit a point where it becomes more and more difficult to come back. It's like, imagine trying to climb a hill and go over a wall at the same time that's on the hill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think if we could get that messaging out so much more, not just change your diet because you got to be healthy, but if people thought of it more that your sexual performance can be affected, that it's all interrelated and it's a domino effect, people would take this thing seriously, because who wants to lose out on good sex? You want it to be sustainable through hopefully a nice lifespan. And so I was surprised. You talk a lot about foods. Things like sugar can really dip your testosterone. Like you said, alcohol, also not good. And I just know that I feel better when I eat right. And in general, I mean, we can have a day here and there, but diet is so important with testosterone, as well as lifting. I try and lift heavy, and I feel like that boosts. I'm always hornier after I do a heavy leg day for some reason.
Absolutely. Yeah, all of that takes effect. One of the things to think about is the way that we live right now. We live in a basically artificial world. I mean, we have lights, I'm talking with guys who aren't in the same room with me. The technology is great and it's bad at the same time. And when it comes to our food, when you walk into the grocery store, you have one aisle that's full of food that's good for you, the produce aisle. Everything else is bad. I mean, because of two reasons. One, it's designed to stay on the shelves for a long period of time. So when you eat it, it stays in your body for an excess period of time. And also, we're basically wet bags. We're 50 to 60% water. So everything else in the grocery store is dry. So we're taking dry stuff and sticking it into our bodies. And so when they talk about drinking water, I just found out that I'm chronically dehydrated. So I had to start drinking a lot more water. I thought I was doing good, but, I got an electric scale. The scale was able to tell me that my water was lower. So, technology can help. But if you don't know what's going on, if you don't measure it, then you can't test it and you run into issues. And definitely with the exercise, some people take things too far. Well, I always say, people, say I'm anti-jogging or something like that. I'm not that. It's just recognize what you're trying to accomplish. So a marathon runner is not going to train the same way as a bodybuilder. So if you're trying to get your testosterone up, you have to do certain workouts like lifting heavy, like doing high intensity interval training. If you're doing something like steady state cardio for too long of a period, you're just sitting there on the bike for hours, getting on the elliptical for hours, just jogging for hours, you're actually wearing down your testosterone. So you just need to be aware of that. I'm not against jogging. Just be aware that if you're trying to increase your testosterone, you have to pay attention to that.
Oh, fabulous. And speaking of exercises, what other types of exercises do you recommend to increase sexual performances? Like we've heard a lot about Kegels and things of that nature to increase sexual performance, but like what else would you recommend?
Definitely yoga. Yoga is huge. One, because you're talking about mind body, the mind body connection. Two, it increases testosterone, like most activities do. And it's also gentle. And also, when it comes to performance in and of itself, flexibility makes a huge difference. So, you think about it, sex is like a sport. You just don't necessarily get paid for it. Depends on what you're doing. But There's no leagues for it that I know of, but it is a
We can
sport.
start our own.
There we go. Make it an Olympic event. But
right.
yeah, it's you need to stretch up, you need to warm up, things like that. So if you're already going through the process of doing yoga, you're already flexible, so you can just do a couple of things before you start having sex, and that way you can get in and out of positions. You don't want to be having sex and all of a sudden you catch a hammy, your chest locks up, something like that. It's not a good look.
Oh yeah, I do some deep knee bends every time. I'm ready to jump
Right
on
before
it.
sex, Steve?
Right
Oh my
before-
goodness.
that and some more. I'm a former gymnast here, so
Okay.
come on
Oh,
now.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah. But in some of your videos you talk about penis enlargement, and I guess
Mhm.
the major question is, can we make our penises enlarged? And I know you talk a lot about it's all about blood flow.
Mhm.
So talk about the health of our penis over time.
Oh, sure. So yeah, definitely the thing about penis enlargement is something that men should know about, period. And the reason is because it is just, well, it's the opposite end of it is penis atrophy. You imagine someone who's 81, and imagine when that person was 21. Is there a difference in their penis size? Ask their nurse. They'll let you know. It's like, yeah. So if you're so yeah, there is a process. When we and let me just dive into the sexual performance scale right quick, and that's a scale of 1 to 10. 10 means everything works. 1 means you need to go to the hospital. 5 to
Okay.
7 is most guys who I deal with who are just unreliable. In terms of if you're at a 7, you're sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. 6 is more of that, and a 5, it takes a lot of preparation, a lot of things to happen in order for you to have an erection. And sometimes it'll leave during sex. So you really want to, know where you are and continuously go up this scale, because as you get older, and we're talking about blood flow, as you get older, I mean, imagine a person who's older. Well, what is one about them? They're moving slower. It's
Right.
like, well, yeah, your blood flow is moving slower also. So you want to keep your blood moving. You want to keep working out. You want to keep moving, period. And,
Yes.
Fortunately for men, we just happen to have an indicator stick that's right in the middle of our body that lets us know how we're doing. And one of the things to realize in terms of the penis itself is that the veins in there, the capillaries, is the smallest in the body. So we're talking
Right.
about one platelet of blood going through at a time. So
Right.
you want to be very careful. That's the reason why they call it canary in the coal mine. If you have erection issues, that means there are other issues going on throughout the body. It's just that it shows up in your penis first.
That's the
So
last moment, I guess, that you're seeing it.
yeah. And so when you're in terms of penis enlargement on that scale, you need to be 8, 9, or 10. And so you're you're already at a healthy stage. And basically when we talk about penis enlargement, you're not gonna, go from I'm size 4, I'll be size 12 tomorrow.
Right.
None of that works. It's those crazy
Darn.
commercials. But in terms of, for most guys, they're 20 to 30% smaller than they normally would be, just because of what we do. Sit around, sitting on the couch, not really moving, all the different things that add up to you're not functioning at your best. So if you're able to take care of yourself correctly, you get to that 8, 9, or 10, then you can be at the largest that you can possibly be. So that's
And
enlargement.
instead of, I love that. And I know people can watch a lot of your videos because you give tips on, maybe we'll talk about a couple of them, but instead so many people pop a pill, Viagra, Cialis, and there are great products out there, but it's a quick fix, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, one of the reasons why I started this business and stayed into it was because of my grandmother. She did a slip and fall, and she went into the hospital with a broken hip. She went in on 2 drugs and came out on 22 drugs.
Oh no.
And this was way back in the day before WebMD. We just did the research and just looked up all the different drugs, and they were doubling up on the drugs. So that got me into wondering, like, there has to be a better way to, she wasn't eating because she was taking so many pills.
Right.
Oh my
And
goodness.
the doctor was like, well, yeah, you can eat whatever you want to. I was like, I can't eat. I think I was like 22 at the time. It's like, I can't eat whatever I want to. So how can she do that in her
Right.
state? So that just got me into, looking for natural remedies. Ended up with the tinctures, the good wood, and also looking at processes to help people to take care of themselves. And that's how we get the E25, which I'll talk about later on. But when it comes to the pills in and of themselves, just think of it this way. There's two things to think of. First of all, I call them magic pills because you're expecting magic to happen,
Hmm.
and it never does. They don't design the pills for you to get off. Any good drug maker, whether he be on the corner or in a pharmaceutical, is
Right.
in a CVS. They're there for business. So I'd rather
Mm.
you to keep coming back than to, take the product and not have an issue and never come back to me. And
You better
so
preach.
and they also, of course, you know, you have to be careful because you're taking a drug to fix one thing. Drugs aren't designed to take care of the entire body. So when you're eating like an apple or something, it has fiber, has the vitamin, it's so many good things in it. When you're taking
Hmm.
the apple pill, it
Yeah.
would just be like one thing in there that just mimics an apple. And so there are guys who were and I'm actually dealing with uh, a guy I've known for a while, and he was taking some type of medication. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it caused him to now have, on that scale of 1 to 10, he's a 0.
Ooh.
Um, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So you want to be very careful. If your doctor says, well, first of all, if your doctor says take this pill and he doesn't have any other recommendations for your lifestyle changes, be very careful. And second of all, as soon as it's called the internet. Look up, I know they have those 15 syllable words. It's seven,
Yeah.
seven, seven names. Look it up.
Right.
Find out what the side effects are. And I always say, if you're on any type of medication, do whatever you can to get off of it, because
Yeah.
it's a downward spiral. It's like, well, okay, now you have this drug. Well, if that one slows down, you need to take this drug. And it's not necessarily that the drug itself slowed down. It's your body is changing and adapting to that drug. So you have to be very careful.
Absolutely.
Wow. Beautiful. I was looking at all of your information, your products, and your website, and all that things to that nature. And I saw the liquid aphrodisiac, and I was wondering who the ideal client for the liquid aphrodisiac was.
Well, basically, we service, it does work for men and women. It's Goodwood. If you want to check it out, it's givegoodwood.com. And it is a all natural liquid aphrodisiac, and it works for basically humans. So
Oh, okay. Well
obviously,
then,
typically
that's
we're
good.
saying we don't want to give that to people below 18 because their bodies are
Okay.
still developing. But yeah, we have clients from 18, unfortunately, on up to 65, 67, and onward. And so basically what it does, it increases your testosterone output and it increases your blood flow to your genital regions. So if you take it, one of the side effects is that your hands will feel cool. Your hands and feet will feel cool because the blood is being drawn to your genital regions. So you can have
Oh,
more blood flow for better, stronger erections, more intense orgasms. Because of the testosterone boost, it also increases stamina. So we have guys who take it to work out. So like any natural product, it has a host of benefits. And the other side effect is that if you take it late in the evening, it is a stimulant. It will keep you up unless you have
oh,
sex or work
okay.
out.
Got it.
All
Good to
right. Good to
know.
know.
Mhm.
Well, hey guys, your buddy Stevie here, and some good news and some bad news. Yes, summer is over. Good news is we got monkeypox under control. It's time to get back into the mix, and I'm talking about one of my favorite pastimes is to go to play parties or my favorite BDSM clubs. And when I go to those, I want to know that I can last as long as possible and have as much fun as possible, if you know what I mean. I definitely do not want to blow my load early on in the night. I want to be able to last as long as possible. And that's why I want to tell you about Roman swipes, because they are so convenient over-the-counter wipes that are clinically proven to help you last longer in bed or at your favorite play party. They are uniquely formulated to reduce overstimulation without eliminating sensation altogether. And there's a 2019 study where they were proven to increase time to orgasm by more than 4 times. So to use, all you do is remove the disposable swipe from discreet pocket-sized packet. I carried it in my jeans, easy breezy, wipe on the most sensitive parts of your penis, and allow to dry for about 5 minutes. They're safe, effective, and no prescription is needed. When used as directed, Roman swipes leave no scent or taste, so there is no transfer to your sexy partner. Okay, I've got the perfect deal for you. Try swipes today with a special offer just for our listeners. Get 20% off your first order. Just go to ro.co/tags, TAGS today. That's ro.co/TAGS for 20% off. Hey guys, Stevie here. And we all know how important a good night's rest is, how important sleep is for sanity, to be productive every day. I certainly do. And for the last several weeks, I've been so happy to try my brand new Helix mattress. Let me tell you, I have been getting some of the best sleep and waking up refreshed, although I could stay in bed for hours because this mattress is so comfortable to my body. I just know whoever I bring into my bed soon I'm not going to be able to get them out. I took the Helix sleep quiz and I was matched with the Midnight mattress because I really wanted something that felt medium to firm, as I tend to sleep on my side and my back all night. The mattress that I had before was fine, but I had it way too long. And then I put this foam covering on top of it that worked for a while, but it got so mushy and I was waking up with aches and pains. The Helix mattress is a major upgrade. No longer do I need an extra padding because it's built in and I'm getting some of the best sleep of my life. Not only is the mattress the best I've slept on, but the setup was fast and easy. Helix mattresses are delivered in a box and straight to your door for free. Helix Sleep is a premium mattress brand that provides tailored mattresses based on your unique sleep preferences. The Helix lineup includes 14 unique mattresses, including a collection of luxury models, a mattress for big and tall sleepers, and even a mattress made just for kids. Simply take the Helix Sleep Quiz and find your perfect mattress in under 2 minutes. Helix knows there's no better way to test out a new mattress than by sleeping on it in your own home. That's why they offer a 100-night risk-free trial. Try out your new Helix mattress, see how your body adjusts, and if you decide it's not the best fit, you're welcome to return it for a full refund. Everybody is unique and everyone sleeps differently. That's why Helix has several mattress models to choose from, each designed for specific sleep positions and feel preferences. Models with memory foam layers to provide optimal pressure relief if you sleep on your side. Models with a more responsive foam to cradle your body for essential support in stomach and back sleeping positions. Plus, enhanced cooling features to keep you from overheating at night. Every Helix mattress has a hybrid design, combining individually wrapped steel coils in the base with premium foam layers on top. It's the perfect combination of comfort and support. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/tags, TAGS. And by supporting Helix, you're also allowing them to support Tags Podcast. So go purchase your Helix and thank me later for your best night's sleep. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Again, it's helixsleep.com/tags, TAGS. I want to remind everyone we are live right now with Brian, Uncle B, Ayers. we have a live audience here. Feel free to put questions in the chat if you have questions for Uncle B. We'll get to them while we have him. I wanted to ask you a question about, you say that porn is messing up men's sex lives. And you also say that to keep the blood going, masturbation is good, but try not to use pornography if you can, which I've been trying to do, use my imagination a little bit more and not be so reliant on pornography. Talk about why porn is messing up with our minds.
Okay. Yeah. So masturbation is natural. And porn is almost natural too, because it's been around since the beginning of time. They used to, have different things, not spray painted, but however they tagged around ancient Rome, is like,
Right.
hey, there's a picture of a dick on the wall. Oh, okay. So it's just a part of nature. I mean, that the greatest entertainment set is in the middle of our bodies. So and we always like,
and ours happens to show, unlike women. So there you go.
Exactly. And so the issue though now is that there's way too much. So going back in the day, you could start with like you're looking at the Sears catalog or something like that. You're looking at the bra and panty section, whatever you're looking at.
International mail for the gay guys.
And it took time. It was like you could get a magazine, it had to come through the mail. It wasn't like right here in your hand. You can just, pull it up at any second. I couldn't understand if I was a teenager right now, I'd go crazy.
I'd be a mess. Yeah. I often say the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so one of the issues though, when you're looking at porn is that, what's supposed to happen is that dopamine is being released throughout in your brain. And there's the dopamine release, and of course there has to be dopamine receptors so that your body now knows what to do with the dopamine to get excited. Now, if you're looking at porn over a period of time, your body's just constantly releasing this dopamine, and the receptor is getting worn out. It's like, hey, this is too much. It's
Right.
like we've been watching porn for like an hour now. What's going on? And if you continue doing that day after day after day, over a period of time, what ends up happening is that when you get in contact with an actual human being,
Right.
it's overloaded. You get to a point where it's like, in order for you to have an erection, you need to, start imagining what you were seeing. So like Chris Rock in his special was talking about, looking at porn and porn addiction. It's like, well, yeah, if you're constantly looking at, you have to, for more stimulation, you have to look at something crazier. So you went from looking at, this one person, there's two people, and there's three people, there's four people. Now the horse is involved. It's like, what the hell's going on?
Right.
So, way too much.
I've seen it.
Way too much. And then, once you get with an actual human being, you lose that intimacy. And really, when intimacy is into your mate, intimate. And so if you're missing that, then you can't do that one level of connection that, we're really designed to be here for, is to, connect on the deepest level while having sex. So now you're having sex, but your brain is somewhere else, and that ends up affecting your erections, and the other person can actually sort of tell. It's like, yeah, you have your eyes closed, and
right, you're not present.
You're not present.
Yeah.
And so that's what ends up happening when you go too far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Let's talk a little bit about Kodi. We wanted to talk a little bit about the differences. I know, Brian, you're straight, heterosexual. Kodi had a question that we were talking offline, and then I have a follow-up one.
Sure. Let's go.
Yeah. So this is primarily an LGBTQ podcast. So we were just wondering how all the things that we were discussing, how it applies to gay men, trans men, and any men underneath the LGBTQ spectrum.
The health side of it stays the same. How you perform and what you think about during your sex, that your body's like, okay, as long as I'm functioning correctly. So, I sometimes, within different communities, there are different activities that could affect things. Some people can get into harder drugs. things of that nature. Also, mental health. I was listening to what you guys were saying earlier about the people being drugged, the people being mugged. It's like
Yeah.
that affects you in different
Yeah.
ways. And so you want to be, very careful when it comes to how your thought process. A lot of times we don't think about it. I always call it the 80-20 rule of sexual performance. For men, we have a member that needs to move. So 80% is your body, how you take care of your body. Other 20% is your mind. As you get older, that changes a little bit. But the thing to consider, I came up with that a while ago, but after having conversations with people, that mind body connection is very sensitive. So just like with the how you could, you're just like, okay, I can have an erection, that's not a problem, but I'm stressed out. I'm dealing with this at work, I'm dealing with this in a relationship, I'm dealing with all these different things, and therefore that affects my erections. And you can just run into problems. Just your brain can outweigh your erections. So
Yes.
that's something to be careful of.
I've actually
Yes.
been there before. So yeah,
Mhm.
I
Easy to go.
totally agree with you. Yeah.
Yes.
Earlier we were talking about penis enlargement, and you talk in some of your videos about how women in general, and I would agree with you on this one, do not really they like to know that the dick functions and that it's working and that the guy knows what he's doing. But when it comes down to it, they don't want a dick pic sent to them. Most women, we're speaking in general, and they don't really want to be broken in half like it sounds like a lot of women do. And interestingly, I had watched one of your videos, and then I was at the airport waiting for my sister, and this lovely woman sat next to me. Believe it or not, we got into conversation about sex. I don't know how it always happens with me, but she brought
It's
it
your
up.
energy, I feel like.
It must be. She brought it up, and she says she doesn't want to see it. She just wants exactly what you said, that she just wants to know that it functions and it's decent. And gay men, I think, are a little obsessive with size, but I kind of think we're in the same ballpark because in the end, Kodi, we don't want to be split in half either.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
No, thank
what are
you.
your thoughts,
I'm
Kodi?
going to take my list off of that. My name off of that list for sure to be split in half.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. What do you, Uncle B? What do you think?
Well, yeah. Well, just from the heterosexual side, the interesting thing is that women come in different sizes, and so you have some women you have to sit there and crack a code to try to get in. On the other ones, he's like, I just threw a basketball into the ocean. So that's
Hey, it's
something
kind
for
of the same with guys too. In our
yeah. So that's the thing to be aware of, and yeah, for uh a lot of times, especially we hear from women, they'll say certain things that they don't actually mean because they haven't, actually experienced it, or they have an ocean and they need something that large to, to fulfill them. But my conversations and just reading, dozens of articles over the years, for women, it's just like you said, they're more interested in that it functions and they can enjoy themselves. And I think it's better to be more concerned with the health of the penis than just the size of it, because
Agreed.
we have some guys who they'll go get penis pumps, and there's some validity to penis pumps, but there's also the danger of penis pumps because if you do something incorrectly, like I said, the veins down there are very small, very susceptible to injury. And so if you injure something down there, putting it back together again is going to be an issue.
Yeah. Right.
Oh my
Trauma.
goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, you got the trauma down there, and then you don't want to have to go through surgery or anything crazy like that.
Well, before we let you go, I want you to talk a little bit about your revolutionary ESEIS 25 sexual health program. What is that?
Okay, well, let's call it E25 for short. So the acronym ESEIS is energy, sleep, exercise, intermittent fasting, and soul. And the 25 is actually a tracking system. So let me explain that. So those 5 categories, we're talking about E for energy, we're talking about what you eat. Sleep, obviously, the amount of sleep you get. The exercise, the type of exercise you're doing. Intermittent fasting, we need a break from eating. We're not supposed to eat all the time. And soul, how you relate to the world and your stress levels and things like that. What we do is we take those 5 things and we score each one with a 0 or a 5 for the day. So
Okay.
you can go through and you can say, okay, in terms of eating, you should. People tend nowadays to eat meat with every meal. I'm not against people eating meat, but I'm also noticing that if you have an issue and you need to stop eating meat for your erections to get back, it's either chicken or your erections. You pick. But it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I want to take one meal and make it vegetarian or vegan or something like that. And so that's how I score myself for that day. That's my goal for the day. If I hit that goal, I got a 5. If I don't hit that goal, I get a 0. For sleeping for 5 hours, I need to sleep for 6 hours. You need to get to 8 hours. But,
Yeah.
just moving up gradually, 0 or 5. Same thing for exercise, whatever exercise you committed to do that day, or if even if it's a rest day, you would score yourself a 5 because you're staying on point, on course.
Okay.
Because
But
rest is important.
yes, and intermittent fasting, same thing. For those people who aren't aware, intermittent fasting is basically when you're taking your eating window and you're shrinking it. So basically, you're not eating for 16 hours and you're eating for 8 hours, eating window of 8 hours. So basically, you're skipping breakfast if you do it that way.
Okay.
And so if you're doing intermittent fasting, I started. Now I can, go up to, well, today I'm fasting, but now I can go up to like 2 o'clock before I notice 2 o'clock in the afternoon before I'm like, oh, okay, it's time for me to eat. I started at 7 o'clock. So, I would go back when I started, when I was at 7 o'clock a.m., I would, wait till 8 a.m. to eat, then 9 a.m., then 10 a.m., then 11 a.m. to train my body to get used to that. So if you're doing that, you're changing up your hours, you hit your goal, you get a 5 or a 0. For stress levels, meditating. So now I meditate 2 times a day. I got a self-hypnosis tape also that I do. So it's, those type of things, even goals like I'm going to get rid of this pile of crap that's in the corner of my house that's been stressing me out.
Yeah, because stress is a
Yeah.
huge predictor of sexual performance and wellness.
Exactly. And so when you score these things, you get all 5, you get 25. So EC is 25 or E25, and we call that exponential energy. So you will get, your healing will come exponentially faster. And that's the part that's really sort of important, because a lot of times people will go throughout the day and miss easily 3 of them, 3 of
Right.
these 5
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
Or they'll do something like, okay, I need to lose weight. And so they'll do the 2 things. They'll like, focus on the eating and focus on the exercise. And then they'll get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, which basically means that you just wasted a bunch of your time, because, your body heals and repairs itself. And weight loss happens while you're asleep. And so if you're missing your sleep, you're missing your testosterone, human growth hormones, et cetera, et cetera. If you're stressed out of your mind, your body is still like, okay, well, rest is part of lowering cortisol, the stress hormone, which is antithesis to the testosterone. So the more, you're stressed out, the more cortisol you have, the more you're going to hold on to fat. So,
Yeah.
it's a lot, as you can tell, it's a lot of information, a lot of things that, I was pissed off when I started learning all this stuff. I was like, why aren't we learning this in school? Um,
Or better yet, I'm
Yeah.
so happy that you have these programs and that you are around and it's so accessible, because like you said, even your doctor, I went in for my doctor visit. We say this all the time on Tags Podcast. You have to be your own sexual advocate for
That's right.
yourself. And
mhm.
especially a lot of this stuff can be preventative. So guys that are in their 20s and 30s can start thinking and implementing some of these things so that they'll have this long, beautiful life of sexual performance. And I also think it's never too late, too. If you're in your 50s, it's never too late to turn it around. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, you it is going up a hill and trying to go over a wall if you've gone past that wall. But the thing to think about is what's on the other side of that wall, in terms of, it's not just your sexual health, but that's the added incredible bonus.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the
Icing.
you get to live longer. You get to, I actually interestingly enough, because I know all this information, but it was a change. When I first started, I was talking about sexual performance techniques,
Mhm.
just different things you can do in the bedroom. But as I got older, it became more about sexual health, and the reason for that is because I got up to like 285 pounds, and I was getting out of the bed, every morning. It was like, okay, it's a guessing game. So is it my feet are going to hurt, my ankle, my knee, or is it my back? Or I'm just going to have a headache? We're not sure which one is going to happen
Right.
today.
Yeah.
So you want to avoid all of that because the downward spiral was next. So I've had to drop a good 60 pounds, and still
Oh,
got some more weight to go. But yeah, you don't want to put yourself in that position to begin with, because
danger zone.
Yeah.
habits come along with that. And those, whenever people ask me, like, hey, you did this weight loss, what did you do? And is how hard is it? And it's like, well, it's for your body, it's not hard. Your body wants to repair itself. It's continuously repairing itself.
Right.
It's really our minds, and just the fact that the world tells us, hey, stay up, watch Netflix and chill, and here's a Snickers commercial, and there's a McDonald's commercial, and just yell at the TV screen at Donald Trump for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's just way too much stuff going on. So got to pay attention.
Well, thank God for you, because people can
Yes.
watch your YouTube channel and follow you. How should people follow you so they can keep up with everything that you've been talking about?
Okay, so on Facebook at Goodwood, Give Goodwood, givegoodwood.com. There's also Twitter, Give Goodwood, and Instagram, Give Goodwood. And the on YouTube, you can just look me up at Brian Ayers 23, like Jordan or James. So that's BrianAyers 23. And also you can look us up on YouTube under Give Goodwood as well. So yeah, we're all
I'll
about
list all this on TAGSPodcast.com when this gets repackaged tomorrow. And absolutely, we want to thank
great.
you so much, though, Brian. Such a
Thank you,
wealth
Uncle
of knowledge.
B.
Yeah.
You're
Appreciate it.
wonderful.
Appreciate it.
This is
Yeah,
so informative.
this is great. I love doing this. And for all of your the guys out there, take care of yourself. Hope you heed these lessons. And I have a new hero over here with Steve, because I'm like, yo, you 51, dude. I'm 51, so now I'm like pissed off.
Oh, no.
Like,
You look
Oh, you
great.
look great.
You look great.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we'll have you back on the show again.
Oh, I would love to. I would love it. This has been great. Thank you very much.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks so much. I know. All righty. Kodi, that was so much fun.
So much fun and so much information. I
So
feel like
much.
I was just in class for hours. I love that.
But it's so important, because there was a point in my 40s where I was
Mhm.
kind of, I always lived a somewhat healthy life,
Yeah.
but I had started to be out a little bit late, coming home with hangovers, finding myself. And then when you have the hangovers, it's pizza night. And then that leads to hamburgers, and just, it's really easy to get into bad habits
Get in that rut. Yeah.
and forget that, look at the macro of it all, and get yourself on target. And when I made that change for myself, which I'm constantly refining, and
Mhm.
thanks to people like Brian, are on our side to help us out.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to take a look at his YouTube channel and, just make sure I absorb all that information, because it was really great and I really learned a lot.
Well, before we get into our favorite final segment, Thirst Trap, excuse me, we have to shout out to Jason Momoa, who
Yeah.
has been turning it out. Recently we labeled the sexiest man alive by People Magazine. We didn't. People Magazine did. And it was one of the Chris's. Which
It's
one?
Chris Evans. There we go.
Chris Evans.
I had to think
Okay.
about it for 2 seconds because
But honestly, Jason Momoa is my pick, especially when he was just recently on Jimmy Kimmel Live and flaunted and showed his bare ass on network TV.
literally stripped.
Oh
It was
my.
great.
You know what? There's a lot to be said about a straight guy, if we're going to celebrate People Magazine, that has a sense of humor, that's a lot of fun, he just seems like he'd be so much fun, and he's sexy as fuck.
Oh
Do you not
yeah.
agree?
Oh no, 100%. He was my pick last week for sexiest man
Okay,
alive.
yeah.
So yeah, I think People Magazine should listen to me, and that should be it for next year. Okay? Yes.
I love it. And of course, we can't end the show without talking about Thirst Trap, produced by Straight Up Gay Porn. Each week, they list several gay porn stars and they ask the question, who took the best photo or video of the week? Our job is to descriptively tell you on an audio podcast why we picked it, but I'll post this on TAGSPodcast.com and you can vote for yourself. Kodi, did you have a favorite out of these 19 gorgeous men?
I had several favorites, okay?
I know.
But my vote this week goes to Sean Austin. Let me double check. Yep, Sean Austin. And it's a mirror selfie in someone's beautifully decorated apartment. He has his ass facing the mirror and is plump and delicious. He has one leg propped up on a white leather chair. And that booty tooch from America's Next Top Model is just right. Okay.
100%. I agree with you. He was my pick as well.
What? We picked the same person
But,
this week?
well, I think speaking of penis, the dick, it was the week of like really awesome dicks. Starting with Johnson Poppy, who's just laying back on like a gamer chair. He makes wearing a hoodie covered up completely, but you know the gray sweatpants theory. He ripped out that, and his huge schlong is staring right at you as long as he has this really hot look on his face. But I also have to give props out to Kylan, who looks gorgeous, also in a hoodie. That's the name of the game right now. Wear little clothes. Don't just be naked. Come on now. Even Alex Rosso is donning beautiful watch. Very classic watch, I must say, as he props up his dick with his wrist, looking really good. I love the nose ring, Alex. And so some, really excellent ones, I have to say. Of course, Troy Jacobs, always looking good. Those are our votes, but you can only pick one. So pick one. I'll post this on TAGSPodcast.com. And well, we want to thank you guys. Again, I didn't announce it at the beginning, but this is episode 416. If you were looking for that to drop on Tuesday, it did not, because I was under the weather and I'm getting much, much better. But follow us on social media. I am _Steve V, as I'll be posting stuff all week as I'm here in Puerto Vallarta, showing you the neighborhood, showing you some cool sights. It'll be a lot of fun. So follow us or follow us at Tags Podcast on all social media platforms. Follow Kodi. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching, or at Mr. Maurice. Thanks again to Brian, Uncle B. I'll list everything on TAGSPodcast.com. Thanks, Kodi. So much fun.
Thank you, Boo. I had a wonderful time, as always.
Me too. And in the meantime, continue having hot, gay
sex.
Yes, people.